Hi and welcome to an Elite Gaming Raid Guide. In this raid guide we'll be covering the tactics for the last boss of the Denova operation on 8-man story mode, Warlord Kephess. This fight consists of two key phases. Phase 1 is the robot phase and phase 2 is the Warlord Kephess phase. In phase 1 the main objective is to bring down the robot. What you'll notice when you enter the room is the large robot in the centre is immune to all damage. So what you need to do is engage the Imperial siege droids guarding it. Upon taking down the Imperial siege droids, a Baradian bomber will spawn. This will cycle through 3 times with different types of adds to the Imperial siege droids. To handle the Imperial siege droids, simply DPS them down one by one and allow your off-tank to take the spare one that's available to reduce raid damage. Once you've successfully taken down the 3 Imperial siege droids, a Baradian bomber will spawn as mentioned before. As you see here, the Baradian bomber spawns near us, but can spawn in a random location in the room. There's an explosion icon above its head, and there's also a debuff that lasts for 20 seconds. If this 20 seconds expires, the Baradian bomber will explode and nobody will receive the debuff. The aim here is to get the bomber down within 20 seconds, the debuff then transfers to a raid member who runs under the robot, looks up, and then will be auto-grappled into the centre of the robot. They will then explode, and this makes the robot targetable and stop damaging the raid. No adds will spawn now. This is purely a DPS phase, so do as much damage as you can. You're aiming to do 33 to 35% of the robot's health per DPS phase on it. Towards the end of the DPS phase, you'll notice that the second wave of adds come. Don't worry about these, finish the DPS off and then handle the adds. The second wave of adds will be semi-elite adds. There'll be trench gutters and 1 warrior surrounded by a purple shield. The aim here is to take out the warrior first, as that is the add that's generating the purple shield, and then you can kill the trench gutters. If you try to kill the trench gutters with the purple shield up, all damage will be reflected from them onto the attacker, therefore wiping the raid. If you take a close look here, when the second wave of adds spawn, we target the warrior first, burn it down, and then we pop AoE on the trench gutters. Do not try to attack the trench gutters first. It is also possible to take the warrior away from the trench gutters and DPS them down separately, but we didn't feel this was the most efficient way. On this semi-elite add phase, there will be 3 packs of adds that you have to take out. We're now on 2 of 3, and we'll now note some environmental mechanics that are going on. You just saw on the floor that there was a scorched area with purple clouds. This is AoE damage coming from the central robot and does high damage to the raid. When this happens you need to get out of it, but please be aware the damage does go slightly beyond the graphic, so leave yourself plenty of room when the AoE comes down on you. You'll also notice that the robot does target 1 member of the raid randomly and begin single targeting them. Simply, healers, keep this person alive and keep everyone above 90% at all times, as the damage can get pretty intense. Upon successfully taking out the 3rd pack of adds in the second wave, another Baradian bomber spawns with a 20-second debuff on it, and this simply rotates 3 times. We would advise saving your cooldowns for towards the end of the Baradian bomber phase and any other cooldowns for when you take down the robot. If you fail to take down the Baradian bomber, then you will struggle in the fight, as Warlord Kephess will join the fight after 3 Baradian bombers or just before the 3rd spawn. So again, we go in here, we did 39% in the first phase, and after the second phase you need to aim for the boss to be just below 30% health to be safe to take it down the next time. Again, towards the end of this DPS phase, the 3rd and final wave of adds will spawn. In this case, it's the power pulsar droids. One will be surrounded by a purple circle that's channelled. Stay out of this, as it will do AoE damage in the area that you can see. As mentioned, this will be channelled, and at the end of channeling, the alternate power droid will also start channeling. Ideally, you'd like to take out these droids in 1 phase, but it's not totally necessary. As seen here, we do it in 2 and don't have too many problems. If you find that you've got 1 add down and 1 channeling the purple circle, simply use range DPS to bring it down, and when the purple circle drops, you can finish DPS in the 1 remaining. After taking down the pulsar droids successfully, Warlord Kephess will spawn. Note at this point that raid-wide damage is still going on and will continue to go on until the central robot's down. As seen here, that was mentioned just a second ago, we use range DPS to finish DPS in the droid, and then melee get in as soon as the purple circle drops. The main tank should now at this point be looking for Kephess to jump down from the top of the robot. The rest of the raid should be preparing for the third and final Baradian bomber. Kephess now appears in front of the robot and will do high damage to anyone tanking it. This is the first run we did, so we didn't fully know how to handle Kephess, but what we did was taunted it and then kited it as much as possible when damage got intense. Make sure you keep at least one healer on the tank. Here, our tank goes off onto the bomber, and when this happens, one of the raid members does get one-shotted by Kephess. This was simply due to us not understanding how Kephess will work. If this happens, get somebody up ASAP, but avoid this happening by having a tank primarily using AoE taunts and single target taunts on Kephess. Meanwhile, the raid should receive the third and final debuff, run to the bottom of the boss, look up, be grappled up, and then DPS the boss down. Again, ideally have the boss on 25 to 28% here to allow an easy phase with one less DPS to get this robot down. As soon as you get the robot down, the raid-wide damage that we saw before will stop. Now you see that a few mechanics are added from Kephess. Kephess will randomly disappear and appear in a red circle. Stay out of this red circle until it disappears. All your tanks then need to do is taunt Kephess. Once the robot's down, this fight gets a lot easier. Get 2 healers on your tank, keep aggro, and put in as much DPS as you can. You get quite a while in this phase to simply take down Kephess, and the only thing to mention is that when Kephess de-aggros, taunt it, because it will de-aggro every time that a red circle appears, and make sure that your tank has heavy healing. You may also want to use some cooldowns in this phase. Other than that, no environmental damage is going on. The main focus is on the boss. Try to keep your entire raid up here because a key DPS phase is coming up in a few seconds. If tanks are finding it hard and getting low, use your off tank to taunt it and give some time to heal up the main tank. Then when the main tank's ready, you can simply taunt it back. This way you've got 2 lots of defensives that you can use to keep yourself alive. You'll notice Kephess will drop relatively quickly at first, but will have a high damage output. This is simply to keep your healers on their toes, and it almost lures you into a false sense of security for preparing for the final phase of the Kephess fight. Suddenly Kephess will channel, as seen here. A purple circle will appear, you need to get out of it, because at the end of the channeling an AoE will be cast. At this point now, tanks, it is your time to run and use any abilities that can increase your speed or distance from the boss as much as possible. We use 2 Sith Warriors, so in this case we have no speed increases but use intercedes where possible to get away from the boss. We also use the off tank to generate some distance between the two. So when the main tank has Kephess getting close, the off tank will run away, get max range on Kephess and single target taunt it. Then when the off tank has been reached, the main tank will return the favour and use a single target taunt where possible, then an intercede. The off tank's taunt should then be available shortly after this. A final key point to mention after the channeling is Kephess is extremely vulnerable. Damage to Kephess is increased by around 200%, so all DPS cooldowns should be saved until this point. There's also a soft enrage timer, as well as a hard enrage timer. The soft enrage is that the purple circles potentially can fill the room, so try to leave your raid enough room to DPS the boss. The purple circles didn't cause us too many issues though. Please enjoy the fight. We hope that this guide helps you, and also please enjoy the end of the video where we come close to failing this boss on the hard enrage timer. If you've got aggro, keep him coming. 60k, 60k, go, 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 go,
Everyone
go.
just full DPS.
Full DPS, he's enraged. He's enraged, go, go, go. 40k, 40k. 20k, 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 17k, stack everything you've got. 11k, come on, come on, come on, come on. You've got him. 6k, 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 6k. 6k, everything you've got. 100, yes! Well done to you.
Good job, man.
Good job. Oh.